Most cultured individuals share one trait, and that's an appreciation for calling all engines. And in that movie, we're shown one thing. Sometimes in life, you have your diesel locomotives, and other times in life, you'll have your steam locomotives. But what would you get if you were to combine those two? Not you, nobody asked you, get out of here. Well, if you were around the LNER between 1933 and 1934, you would have seen just that, specifically the Kitson-Still locomotive. Or if you didn't pick it up from the intro, a locomotive that utilizes steam and diesel power. And technically this engine wasn't an LNER engine. However, it ran most of its trials on LNER lines, as well as ran a daily freight service from York. Now, the Still engine as a design had already enjoyed some success in marine and stationary applications. The basic principle was that of a diesel engine with double-acting pistons. One side of the pistons was diesel, and the other side was operated by steam. The engine was started by steam, and when sufficient speeds were reached, diesel fuel was injected into the diesel side of the cylinder. The steam starting allowed a direct propulsion without any form of transmission. Although electric transmission is used on virtually all modern diesel locomotives today, it's more that in the 1920s these systems were very immature. The Still arrangement also allowed the steam propulsion to be used as a booster when extra power was required. An oil burner was fitted to the steam boiler to enable initial starting, but exhaust heat from the diesel was also used to partially heat the steam. This improved the locomotive's efficiency by about 40%, exceeding all contemporary engines. In the 1920s, diesel locomotives were still at a primitive state, and Kitson & Co. of Leeds believed the Still principle could be applied. Patents were filed in the early 1920s, and construction of an experimental engine started in 1924. This engine had a 262T or 1C1 wheel arrangement, with 8 cylinders arranged in 2 horizontal banks. The cylinders were also parallel with the drive axles, and were all operated by a central crankshaft. Gears, a lay shift, and coupling rods transferred the power from the crankshaft to the 3 drive axles. The relatively small boiler was positioned above the engine, and had a cylindrical oil-burning firebox. Exhaust gases from the diesel engine fed through the tubes in the boiler, and the boiler water also circulated through the cylinder cooling jacket. Both circulation systems helped to capture waste heat from the diesel process, and steam was used for many auxiliary systems such as the brakes and whistle. The oil burner was used to create steam for starting. When about 5 miles per hour was reached, diesel fuel was injected to the diesel ends, and after about 2 revolutions, the steam was then shut off until needed for the next start, or just as an extra boost. This design speed was a maximum of 43 miles per hour. However, this was increased to 55 as tests proceeded. As well as great starting abilities, the Kitson-Still was found to consume about 1/5 of the fuel by weight compared to a typical coal-burning steam engine. The exact economics would vary according to the relative prices of coal and oil fuel. However, Kitson planned to target countries with good oil supplies, but no coal, or at least very little of it. The available power of the locomotive for its size was relatively low, and this would have had to been improved for commercial use. This, however, at the time wasn't possible, and would have required large expenditures which were not available, as Kitson & Co. were pretty down in the dumps finance-wise. Development and testing of the Kitson-Still took the better part of 10 years, and with great expense. As such, it was a large contributing factor to the downfall of Kitson & Co., who called in the receivers in 1934. After this, the engine was laid up at York North Shed, until at least July 1935, after which it was returned to Kitson's to be disposed of. By the time Britain's railways were ready to adopt large diesel locomotives, the previous issues with electric and hydraulic transmissions had largely been overcome, and the Kitson-Still experiment was forgotten. As stated before, the locomotive was broken up by Kitson & Co. after July of 1935, so unfortunately there are no examples in preservation as of now. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the story of the Kitson-Still locomotive. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to like and subscribe for even more train content. Consider supporting me on Patreon to be featured in these videos and see them a bit early. And as always, guys, thanks again for watching. And hopefully I'll see you guys in the next one.
Either subscribe, donate, or get the fuck out.